Right, morning everyone. Got a different camera angle today because I'm working on different parts of the guitar, on Steve's guitar. Now today I'm going to be getting on with the setup. The setup consists of, we check the nut for string height, we check the bridge, see if the bridge is too high or too low. We check the neck, see how level it is. Once we've got the neck level, we then check the frets to see how level they are. And we check the strings. You don't sit flat across your fretboard. The arc is what we call a radius. And the radius on these Gibsons is 14 inches. Now I have radius gauges here. I'm going to show you these in depth in a little bit. And they're all different sizes. You can see them. And that's how we check the radius on the guitar. Now I know this is 14, I've done it already. Now, Steve had a problem with tuning this guitar. It should have been evident straight away. I should have known straight away why it wasn't staying in tune. It's quite obvious now. I'm going to show you. The way he's wound his strings is unbelievable. We've only got about one wrap round. That's no good. Your guitar is never going to stay in tune when look at this. These are never going to hold tuned because they're always going to be slipping. We've only got one wound round. I hate this. I hate to see this. I'm going to show how to string a guitar properly in a bit. Because your guitar's never going to stay in tune when you wind your strings like that. You want 2 or 3 wraps on that. You want 4 or 5 on that. 5 or 6 on that. Anything between 6 and 10 on these. I sometimes put 12, 15 wraps on the I1. So anyway. So that's where we're at right now. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to sort the camera out for one. Right, now, other reasons we have tuning problems. The neck, if the neck's not straight, you want the neck not exactly straight, but you want it with a little tiny. See, look, when a string vibrates, imagine a string straight, when it vibrates more in the middle than it does at the nut end and the bridge end. So in the middle it's going to be vibrating like that. This is the middle area of the guitar. I'm going to show you this in a minute. So what we'd like is, rather than have a perfectly straight neck, we like a little tiny bit of bow in the neck. Now this has got far too much. I'm going to bring the camera around. I'm going to show you now. I've got this fantastic tool here. It's a neck level checking tool. This has been ground perfectly flat on both edges, but it's got slots for the guitar, for the frets. Now I've marked these up, F25.5, that's Fender scale length, 25.5 inches, and you've got Gibson scale length, which is 24.75, 24 3/4 inches. Now this, I'll show you, fits like so on your neck, and this way you can check to see how much gap you've got. I'm going to bring the camera around, I'm going to show you, because you're not going to get it from there. I mean, that's on there. I'm going to take the camera off. And show you. There you go. There's the tool. What I do is, I've got a bright light. I'm going to show you so you can see underneath. There you go. Look how much gap. We want a gnats. We've got what we got there. Again, on 9mm there, it's way too much. No wonder your guitar's not staying in tune. So I'm going to straighten the neck on. We've got a truss rod. A truss rod is a metal bar that sits, it goes the length of a neck. It goes from here into here. And it's a metal bar, and we alter it on an Allen key or a wrench, and we twist it one way or another. And what it'll do is it'll either do one or two things. It'll bend the neck that way, or it'll bend the neck that way. They've only got the compensation of the string tension. We bring it one way or the other. We bring it straight, and that's how. Ideally, we want it close to straight to play properly. So I'm going to sort that out in a bit. I'm going to stick the camera back on tripod, and we'll crack on. Right, where are we at? I was lucky. So I've played the guitar this morning, and then I tuned it in and I played it. Then what I did is I just hit these, just to bend the strings a bit, pull the strings, and I played it again. It was completely out of tune. I realised these here, it's no good like that. So what we're going to do is, I'm going to take the strings off. I'm going to take this cover off with a truss rod here, and I'm going to alter the truss rod and get the neck level, because once the neck's level I can start looking at the frets. I've already checked the radius. Now I'm getting a 14-inch radius here, which is this one. I don't know if I'm at the right angle to come in. You can just about see that. I took the 14 radius. This is on the screen radius, so what I do is I just check in the radius of the neck, and there you go, there's no wobble there. So we've got a 14-inch radius there. Now what we want to do is, when we've got a 14-inch radius here, we also want a 14-inch radius here at the bridge. So what we do is we put radius gauge underneath and we bring it up. And what we do is we set the strings to this arc on this radius gauge. I'm not sure if you can see that, let me just zoom out. These strings are set to the arc of radius gauge, because then we know these strings are going to be arced to the neck, which means each string is going to be the same distance from the fretboard, which is going to stop us getting a buzz on certain strings. So we're good there. I've already checked that and I know we're fine. So that's good. The action is really easy. I'll sort the action out in a bit. Now what I'm going to do first, I'm going to take the strings off. So loosen these. Now they're old strings, so I'm just going to bin them. We're getting new strings on anyway. And a little gadget, you can stick the end of this on a drill, which I can do, but I've been known to put it the wrong way and snap the strings before I got them off. I tend not to use a drill now for that reason. But because these strings are going to be locked, I'm not going to faff about. I'm just going to cut them straight off. Because I'm done. One wrap's no good, you're never going to stay in tune. Can't emphasise that enough. And I hate it when these have been looped through, that is a nightmare. I'm surprised those strings stayed on the guitar, to be honest with you. Right, I'm going to pause the video here and I'm going to come back in a minute. I'm going to set the guitar up at a different angle, I think. I'll be back in a minute. Right, I've straightened the neck. I'm just going to show you what I've done now. There you go. I've tightened. Well, I've altered the truss rod. The truss rod turns on an Allen key, as you can see here. And tightening it clockwise brings the neck up, brings the bow out, and loosening it brings the bow back in. So what I've done is I've tightened it a little. Now, if you have a look, I've got it now. You see, you've got a tiniest gap under there now. That is what we class as playable straight, because we want this little gap here. Underneath, because the strings are going to vibrate more around here. So that is now in the playable position. Now the good thing about that now is when we've done this, that we can level the frets, because we've got the neck there, what we call it, it's in the playing position. That's the position it's going to be in for playing. So now each fret we're going to sand across, we're going to check the level of all the frets across the top, because that's where we want them level. Now we want to run, if there's any not level, we want to run a sanding beam across these to get them all the same height, and then we'll crowd them off. You've seen how I do that on the Tanglewood TW47. video. So I'm going to stick this back on the tripod, and there we are. Now, check again. Always check it on this. That looks straight, that's beautiful. I've got a long straight edge I bought. It's a builder's ruler. It's ground straight, so I know for checking the frets it's going to be perfect. Now you see the bridge is in the way. I could take the bridge off. I'm not going to do that. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm going to do. I don't think it'll come off that easy. Those frets look brilliant. There's no gaps on them frets. They look fantastic. What I'm going to do is I'm still going to check with my fret rocker. Bear with me, I just want to put this all away. So this is a big part of doing a setup. Your neck's one of your first things you check, because if your neck's not straight, your guitar's not going to play right. So your neck is very important. The things I always look for in a guitar when I'm buying a guitar is the first thing I always look at is the straightness of the neck. And what we do is we sight down the line there, look. From ear to ear, or from ear to ear, we look down the line like so. That's the first thing we do. Right, now fret rocker, you've seen that before. Great little tool. It's called a fret rocker. These edges are all ground straight, perfectly level, and the reason it's this shape is we've got 4 widths, because we're always looking to go across 3 frets. Because if we go across 3 frets, if there's any rock, we know the middle one's high. Now here we don't have any rocking at all, so we know these frets are absolutely level. There's a tiny bit there. One. Can you hear that? That's on the 5th fret. So what I'll do is, when I get around to checking these frets, I'm going to go to fret 5, and what I'll do is I'll just mark it off. I'll get a marker pen, I'll just put a black line across fret 5. I'll tell them fret 5 what's looking at. Now, as we progress down the neck, that edge is going to become too long, so we move to this edge, because you're always checking 3 frets. Next one straight, straight, straight. These are surprisingly good. Then we go to a shorter length again. Always 3 frets, straight. Hear that? Fret 11. Always mark them off so we know where we are. 12's good, 13's good, 14's good, 15's good, 16's good. And we'll come back to the shortest distance. 17, 18, 19, 20 is a little bit rocking, 21 is a lot rocking. Now this area is what we call the fall off end area. You normally always get rocking down here, because what we do is, where the frets are level all the way across the board, when we get to round about, come up towards the body, so around about 15th fret, we tend to just put a piece of tape over 1 fret here, just take it a little bit higher, and what we do is we gradually taper downwards. It's called a fall away, because we get into the business end of the guitar there. We've got a little bit of fall away going towards the bridge. It just means that we don't get no ping or buzz anywhere down here. That's normal. So it's normal for these frets to rock just a little bit. But what I do is, they're both quite a lot. Sometimes you get what you call a little hump there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to file these down so I know which ones they are. These 2. So I should take a bit off them. So we've got 4 frets to level there. This is why you pay for a full setup, because this doesn't get done on a regular setup, and you don't get your frets polished on a regular setup, and you don't get your neck polished, neck oiled on a regular setup. Regular setup, you just get it put in tune, you get everything checked out, make sure it plays alright. A basic setup's good, but a full setup's better because you get the full bit. I can't stress how important it is to have your neck properly sorted out. It's time consuming, but I enjoy doing it. I love doing it. I love working on guitars. So there you go, I've got 4 frets on there need looking at, so I'm going to blob on with them in a minute. So I've given the guitar the once over. Check these bridge pins. I'm not too happy with these bridge pins. I'd screw these in a bit more. I don't like these weedy ones. I normally swap the bridge pins out and put big fat ones on there. If it was my guitar, I would do that. So I'm going to get on with the neck now. I'm just going to show the condition of these frets. Steve asked me to do this. Right, Steve asked me to show you the state of these frets before and after, so I'm going to show you before right now. I don't know if you can see, but you see how these are all, they look actually brassy. They're not made of brass actually. Will be a nickel, steel or silver nickel or mix or whatever. The reason they look brassy is they're all tarnished. So once I've levelled these off, I'll be giving them a polish, and I just wanted to show you. So what Steve wanted you to see before and after, he wanted to see that. So there you go. There's your before. All in all, it's a really nice guitar. It's going to be brilliant when I've done it. Not brilliant anyway, it's just going to be... I once have thought I'd like a guitar like this, but I tell you what, I really like this one. So really, that is it. I'm going to be blobbing on with this. I'm not going to film the whole process of polishing the frets and levelling the frets, because I've already covered that in the when I did the Tanglewood video, which I put on the Leeds forum on that page. It's on there, videos on there. There's no point me keep going over stuff I've already done. I might come back and show some snippets of stuff. Yeah, or I might leave the last few for polishing. I might leave one. I'll show you 1 hour around 1 hour I do a fret. I've got 4 frets on here to level. When I level them, the top's going to become flat. Now we don't have flat. The frets aren't flat. They're curved like that. It's what we call, what's a radius again, isn't it? Now, so when I've filed them and it's going to be flat, what I have to do is then I have to shape the file. I've got a brilliant file for that. I bought it from Crimson Guitars the other week. It's a fantastic file. It's a fret dressing file. It's 3-edged, it's triangular, but each edge has been ground. The good thing about it being ground is when I'm filing on the guitar, this ground edge is going to be hitting the guitar and it's not going to go into the wood. So I can crown the frets and round them off, because I'll just go across at angles. Go across at that angle, then I'll come across at this angle, then I'll come across at more of an angle, and I'll curve the fret to give me that. Brilliant, brilliant tool. One of the best tools I bought this year, that. So that's it. So I'm not going to show you that in depth. I'll show you a little bit of it. I'm going to crack on now with this guitar. It's not going to take me, I don't know, it's not going to take me too long. It'll take me an hour or so, maybe a couple of hours. It depends. Fret work is normally the one that takes time. The reason I'm quick because I know what I'm doing. But a good full setup is going to take you, you're on 2.5 hours. Give yourself 2.5 hours for that. It's always worth a full setup. I don't say that lightly. So I'm going to crack on for now. I'm going to stop the video and I'll get back to you in a bit.